Okay, apologies for that. Hello everyone once again and welcome to Female League Latest. I'm your host, Egas, and this time I have with me Esports Player Foundation coach Joseph, also known as blackgator, as well as Esports Player Foundation talents Ayrine and Stella, who are also players for DKP Diamonds. Hey, will each of you please give us a short introduction of yourselves?
Okay, I guess I start for here. My name is Josef. I'm 27 years old. I'm working for the Esports Player Foundation. I've been a League of Legends coach in the DACH scene since 2019, and yeah, I'm happy to be here.
My name. Oh, yeah, you go.
No,
you go.
Okay. Hello, I'm Ayrine. I'm one of the talents in Esports Player Foundation and also a member of DB Diamond team.
And my name is Stella. I'm 24 years old. I've been competitive league player for the last 5 years, and I'm an EPF talent since the beginning of this year. And yeah, I'm also a player for DKB Diamonds team.
Nice. The main topic of this episode is the Esports Player Foundation, exactly what it is and how does it help people. So let's start. Joseph, from your perspective as a coach in the Esports Player Foundation, how would you describe it to someone who is not familiar with it?
Yeah, I would describe it as if you want to go pro, right? It's a hard journey, and you're mostly alone. You're playing from your own room. You don't have much support, and especially if you don't come from a very wealthy household, right? Then it's gonna be sometimes difficult to afford like new mouse, keyboard, and new computer, sometimes even monitor, right? And then also you are alone. You don't have an in-game coach, or like you don't have. Sometimes you can't afford one because high quality coaches are actually very expensive. You start with 60 and you go up to sometimes 300, right? So these are all costs that you can face going on your journey to be pro. So what the Esports Player Foundation does is basically helping you on your journey to get to the pro level, right? And we do that in various topics. We do that in, obviously, the most important topic is in-game coaching. However, we believe that you have to kind of help the person and develop the person in order to make them grow outside of the game, and that will be beneficial for inside of the game. What we believe in is that through sports psychologists, through nutritionists, through fitness. My brain's a bit messy right now.
It's fine, no worries.
Physical training. Now I have it like the fitness training. You will get to you get in a fitness shape, or you get into like a shape where you are able to withhold a lot of stress. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you are winning one game. Usually when it comes to championship, it's a best of 5 format or best of 3 format. And then in the 5th game, we know that the 5th game is always going to be low quality, because a lot of times players don't have the energy left. They don't are able to focus. And we want to teach them that from the get-go, in order to, when they get to that level, they are already prepared, and that in best case scenarios, multiple years ahead, right? So that's kind of in a short frame what we are doing.
Okay.
Supporting people in game and outside of the game. Yeah.
So a lot of focus on developing people outside of the game as well, and that's an aspect that in esports is still quite underdeveloped. See.
Yeah, for sure. It's I don't underdeveloped could be. I think underdeveloped is an understatement. I don't think a lot of people even understand why it's important. They don't even understand why it's important to be mentally healthy, why it's important to be in a physical good shape, right? And the best case scenario is you go into gaming house, and then you will see the pizza boxes all the way like down, and then you know already, okay, this can be a good split, but it's not it's not healthy. And obviously, we want people to have long careers, right? I think some of you might remember that how they're mostly in the EU LCSAs, you had 2 years, and then the people were like gone, and nobody have ever heard from them. And that's exactly what we don't want. And so from the get-go, we're trying to teach them that and implement the mindset.
I see. Okay, now for the perspective of the players, I want Ayrine Stella to tell us what it's like as a player. How has been a talent in the Esports Player Foundation affected you? How has it benefited you?
Okay,
You start. I'm gonna go second every time now. You start. I'm sorry.
okay. So there are like a lot of aspects that Esports Player Foundation is working on with us. Just like Josef mentioned previously, there's like the mental aspect, physical aspect, and also like in-game coaching. And for me personally, the most help I got from them was mental side of this, because there is not really a space like in life or school or anywhere else to teach you to behave correctly, or how to deal with the issues that you may encounter in game and outside of the game, like your emotions, how you deal with defeat, how to speak to yourself in your mind in a healthy way. So this was something new to me and something that really helped me in order to become a better player. They're also having like the workshops where we can learn new stuff about the game, about our daily routines, how to become a better person as well, because some aspects of the life are also like very important in life of the player. So if you sleep well, if you eat well, if it's boosting your performance, and yeah, as mentioned, it was and still is very underappreciated, and people very often skip it. So following the routine and new rules, being constant is helping me a lot. And if I could, I would just do it again, because yeah, it's just super good.
See.
Yeah, I think all these stereotypes of like gamers being unhealthy and just eating pizza and going to bed at 4 a.m. and they don't come out of thin air. Like, this is actually a thing that a lot of people that are gamers are trying to become esports professionals. They just don't have a lot of healthy habits, and this is like exactly all of the points that we're working on. And for me, it has helped me a lot to like just develop healthier habits for myself, and not only for esports but just for me as a person. And like, I think the EPF puts a lot of focus on the fact that esport professionals are actually athletes, and that the focus is on performing, and just making sure that all of the factors like around the game are perfect for you as well to perform, and not only in the game but also like everything around it. And yeah, there's a lot of benefits you can take from the different things. Like sports psychology has helped me a lot, and all of the fitness, and yeah, it's just like an all-around package to become better. Yeah.
See. So one major thing I'm getting here is how heavily the EPF promotes having a healthy balance between the game and the rest of your life, your sleep, your nutrition, your physical condition, etc., etc. It's as we said earlier, these types of things are still very underdeveloped in esports, where people only now are finally starting to realize that no, you can't just sleep 4 hours and drink 3 cans of energy drink and have a nice, long, healthy career. Like, that's just not gonna happen. So, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Now, moving on. How is the Esports Player Foundation set up, Josef? How many staff members are there? What kind of roles do they take on to ensure the talents can be helped as much as possible? Josef, we can't hear you.
Yes.
Oh, now you should be able to hear me.
Yes, yes.
We are growing currently, right? And currently, I will just like talk like from bottom to top. We are currently 4 coaches just in League of Legends. We have a CSGO department and we have a Brawl Stars department, right? And as we grow as an organization, different titles will come, right? So that's like for the just coaching side of it. In CSGO, we have, I think, 3 coaches. In Brawl Stars, we have 1. That's going to grow probably. And yeah, then we have different kind of people for different kind of jobs. We have Bennett, we have Julius, we have Clara, we have Julia, we have Jörg, Aki, Evangelos, Yannick. I think this is like the 9 people that are doing a lot of management, right? And there's Jan. So it's and they have different roles. Some of them are for social media. Some of them are acquiring partners. Some of them are Jan is talent manager. He's fairly new. And then like obviously founder, co-founder, and like boss, right? And we don't have like the strict hierarchy, obviously, through competences. There is like just a natural hierarchy. I'm not gonna tell to my boss, yo, you do this now for me, right? It's not how it works. Yes, my boss would be able to do that, right? This is his sentiment, because he doesn't see himself as I'm the boss and you have to do everything that I say. And if I snap, then you just you jump, right? That's not how he is, and that's a very healthy thing, right? Because you get to express yourself and you get to find your way of working, and that's a very privilege, I think. And this is kind of like what we have as a staff. So I think in total it's like 15, 16 people. For the League of Legends department, it's 4. But yeah, this is kind of how we are. And as a company, we are a not-for-profit institute or a company. And that basically means every funding that we get from partners needs to be used for the purpose. So the only reason, obviously, it's clear that I don't do this for free, right? I'm getting paid. I think it's okay to be paid for this. Hopefully Stella doesn't flame and say, no, you don't deserve any penny for what you're doing. Shit, God, why does this guy earn money? No, obviously that's that, and that is also to do the purpose, like to help the players develop, right? And so everything that we get in needs to be used to develop the players or develop the main goal, which is helping players to get to the pro scene. So this is kind of how we function, and we do this through business partners like German Telecom, Logitech, and DKB, Skillcore, Cosmos Direct, Garmin, various partners, right? And some of them did give us products, and some of them give us just resources, right? Logitech obviously makes sense if Logitech gives us resources, right? Like products, right? This is not from Logitech, but yeah. So I think if you have any questions to that regard, yeah, just ask.
Not a question for you, but towards the players. As players in the foundation, with how many staff members do you get to interact on a daily basis? What is the extent of your interaction with staff members and the resources they provide?
Should I go?
Go.
Oh, should I go? Okay. Of course, I mean, the person I interact most with is Josef because he's my coach and also the new head coach of the team I'm currently in. So I see Josef a lot, and that's great.
Nice
Is this a leak?
It is.
What?
Okay.
I didn't say anything. And also, I interact a lot with, of course, the talent manager. He tells me, yeah, you got invited to this talk, and do you wanna talk here? And he also has like a monthly meeting with us about any issues we have or anything we want to talk about. And then the guy that that plans all our travels, the Julius, he's always responsible for making sure all the travels and everything goes well. And yeah, he's the best. Yeah, Ayrine.
I mean, of course, Julius, as mentioned. Also, my individual coach, Josef. Because we are in constant contact, like weekly. We don't really talk every day because, people have their private lives. We don't want to get overloaded. That's not healthy.
Yeah.
But also my esports psychologist. I also keep touch with Marek.
See. And Joseph, is that standard? Like, I assume you interact with more players, so is this standard for most players to have this small group of people in the org they are in contact with?
Say so. That's pretty standard. Like everyone has like an individual coach, right? And mostly everything that the players need should be talked with the individual coach, right? And then it's delegated to Jan, who's the talent manager. For example, if they say, "Oh, my keyboard broke down," then they obviously most of the times they will inform me first because we will they just come to me or like their personal coach, right? And then it's been delegated and then speaking Terkov. And then obviously, depending on bootcamp situation, depending on events, right, then they have contact with Helios. And in some cases, right, then when we have like interviews or something, then they will be contacted with Clara. And then, depending on that, maybe even Jörg. But yeah, it's kind of the structure. So most of the time, it's like 2 to 3 people that they are in contact with. Because as was said, it's not useful to overload them. And especially like from the coaching side, it doesn't make sense to me, right? If you have 2 coaches individually coaching a person, right? Yes, in some topics you can like differentiate and you can say, hey, maybe you go to this person for a couple of weeks, right? However, this is how we are structured currently.
See.
Add one more thing.
Yeah.
I think the people I interact with most are actually the players and the other talents that I met from the EPF, because we've become like good friends with most of the people on our team, and also just other talents that we met through being on the same organization. And I think that's like one of the greatest things to have these new friends in my life. And I just really enjoy being around them.
Yeah, to connect and share experiences.
So even outside bootcamps, you spend a lot of time with the other talents of the foundation.
Yeah, I mean, we play together, we talk, and it's just like new friends.
See. Okay.
We don't see each other as competition. I think
No.
that's really important. We keep the atmosphere very friendly.
Yeah.
Because as our member of a team, our player says, we're all gonna make it. So we are here to develop. We are here not to be.
Yeah.
And to support each other also. Yeah. Like everyone is just so supportive of each other, and just trying to help each other out, and not be a competition or
Nice. But
Maybe I can add to that point.
Mhm.
It's cool that you see this, right? And this is a result of us trying to do that, because there's an organization who's called Deutsche Sporthilfe, which basically does what we do for traditional athletes, right? And maybe it's interesting to know that Jörg, the founder or the co-founder, was I don't know if it was like a board member, but he was very high up in this industry and he worked there for roughly 10 years. So he has a lot of experience in that. And you see in traditional sports, you have like, when you are good, you get like to the country level or like maybe city level, right? And then you have like these elections of players who play in different clubs. However, then they know each other, right? And then they know, okay, this is a person that I can go to. And it's the same in esports, right? Everyone sees themselves as competition. However, they should see themselves as like, oh, maybe I can learn from this person because they play the same position like I do, right? And what can I take away from that instead of saying, oh, I need to like bully and make sure that I get ahead, right? Obviously, at the end of the day, if you play in the same league, you're going to be competition. But I know from players that they play 1v1s, they really regularly talk about meta, talk about stuff, even though they play in the same league, right? And it's LFL, it's Prime League. And I think if they are do it, there's no reason for players below that level to not do it, right? So that's a culture that we very much appreciate. And we are happy that players like you are buying into this.
Ultimately, it's better for everyone if people try to help each other and get the scene up as a whole, rather than to try to tear each other down so that they can personally get ahead. So, yeah. Okay. But since the title of this show is actually Female League Latest, let's move into a different topic. If someone goes on the Esports Player Foundation player page and looks through the list of players, it is noticeable that there is a close to even split between men and women in the talents of the foundation, which of course, it's not the case in esports as a whole, because esports is overwhelmingly dominated by men at this point. Is the foundation actively trying to get women into esports and give them the tools they need to be successful?
Yes, to answer it in a short way. To answer it in a long way, we do identify that it is a huge problem. And it's not a problem because women and non-binary players are not good enough. It's a problem because the structures around them is not good enough or not supportive enough. So we identified we need to do something, and you said it. Hey, it's enabled to live their dreams and serve as role models, kind of like what our organization goal value is, right? And there's no role models, especially like in the female scene. You don't have like female LEC players. You don't have non-binary LEC players. So obviously, if you don't see that it's possible, you're not gonna really try, right? And what we tried to do, and actually we did it in a successful way already, because the Equal Esports campaign was launched last year, and we're going into 2.0. And a lot of interview partners that I had and that we had said, hey, I have this player, I have Stella as a role model, I have Ayrine as a role model, I want to be like them, I want to get into Esports Player Foundation. I truly believe that I can become a player, right? Because they put themselves out there and said, hey, I'm gonna try. And I think at the beginning, some of you, I just remember how it was like last year with booking tickets and stuff, and before the festival, I think some of them thought, what is this shady shit here, and what are they going to do to me? Am I going to disappear, right? And it's because they trusted us to do that, right? And that is able that we have at least some role models, or right. Obviously, they're not at the level where we want them ideally to be. However, already because of their work, people applied and were like, okay, I can do that, and that's I'm very, very grateful for that. And we appreciate that, because being the first or being one of the first is always the hardest, right? So yeah, that's what we believe in, and we will continue to do so.
So you're expecting a snowball effect that as more and more women successfully get into esports, will become even easier for the ones that come after?
Yes, I can just this is my prediction. Because I obviously know we have the talent camp, we have really, really good applications. My prediction is that in the next, all of them that are coming to the talent camp, now it's the league for you, Stella and Ayrine, all of the players that we invited, we believe that in between of 6 to 24 months, they can play in any second division in the whole ERL system. That's what we believe. Obviously, there's players like Cultists, right? They are already ready. We all know that, right? It's just like the structure is not fit for females and non-binary players. So that's why we say second division. And obviously we know that some players that will be able to play first division. And that's why between 6 and 24 months, everyone that we invited, we think they have the potential to get to second division. Obviously, in some cases we will be wrong, and that's okay. However, then if it's like 25, 30 players coming, then there's no question of, are they good enough, right? So yeah, I want this bullshit to stop, to hear, the female players and non-binary players are not good enough. This is bullshit, and I don't want to hear it.
I see. Now, since you mentioned the talent camp, let's go back a bit and talk about the bootcamps that the foundation holds. What exactly goes on in these bootcamps? How frequent are they? What are the goals behind them? In what ways do they help players?
You want to go?
Yeah, I can go. Okay. So they're determined by the management. We are not really participating in choosing the dates. But how it usually looks, it's a 1 week period. We are traveling to a facility of our EPF's partners to Austria. And then we are spending these 7 days participating in morning workout where everyone are gathering in the lobby, and we go together to, just stretch and move around and basically prepare for a day, because we are where we're gonna sit a lot as players, of course. So we wanna prepare our body, we're gonna prepare our mentality. We go take breakfast. Then we have a plan. It usually depends on what is prepared by the day, but it varies from the in-game coaching in the morning. And in the afternoon, we are having workshops, and they are a variety. It depends. Sometimes it's like a nutrition advice. Sometimes it's talking about mentality, how to deal with the burnout, and these very important topics. Sometimes we are meeting with other pro players or other esports figures that are very happy to share their experience with us. But we also are participating in our free time in various activities that are like sports, or we just do the bonding between the players. We're just trying to relax, prepare, improve. These are the core things I think.
Yeah. I think the most important thing is that every day is structured, and like you can't just stay up till 4 a.m. and then sleep in the next day. No, that's not happening.
Yeah.
You're getting up at 8 a.m. for a morning workout with everyone, and it's just so much easier because everyone is doing it. Like you're not sitting at home alone trying to work out. And, no, it's like all about doing it together and doing it as a team, and then everyone shows up at 8, and you work out at 8, and then you go to breakfast at 9:30, and then you play together, you have a coaching session together, and yeah, it's all about doing it as a team and improving together. And for the frequency, me and Ayrine, we had 3 boot camps this year so far, and I think we're gonna have 1 more.
After being exposed to the structure of the bootcamp, is it easy to then carry that structure back home with you?
That's actually one thing I've been struggling with, because of course it's a bit delusional to think, I'm just going to do this every day at home. And I mean, if you have the self-discipline to do that, that's very great. But I think most people struggle with that. And for sure, it's easier to do it after the boot camp, but changing bad habits takes some time. And you also have to be patient with yourself and allow yourself to fail, and then just try again the next day, because you can't beat yourself up too much for not following everything like exactly the way you wanted it to go. You just have to try your best and just make every day like a little bit better, and try to do it in small steps. Like you can't change all of the habits that you had for years like in 1 week or 2. Like that's just not gonna work. It takes time to change habits and improve, and I think it's important to give yourself that time.
It also depends on a player, because we have players from different backgrounds, and not everyone can adapt to the same schedule on the bootcamp to their own place. Because we have students, we have people that are working, we have people that have a little bit more free time than this. So it's all about adjustments and basically implying small steps.
See. Okay. So that's what the bootcamps of the EPF are like. Now, Joseph, about the upcoming talent camp. The talent camp will basically be used to choose future EPF talents, right?
Exactly.
So how is the talent camp going to be different than a typical EPF bootcamp? What are you going to change up when you are looking for new players rather than just developing the ones you already have?
The first structure is going to be shorter, obviously, right? It's not going to be a whole week. It's going to be 3 days. And the structure is kind of similar, just we have more workshops, right? Because we want them to understand from the get-go, this is what you have to expect. We are expecting from you that you have a healthy routine, that you have a healthy lifestyle. We're expecting from you that you do sports. We're expecting from you that you understand that you need to be willing to improve, and you have to be willing to do mistakes in order to improve, right? Then also you need to have the mindset. And I had actually a pretty long discussion with my boss. We should just do bootcamp and just let them play the whole time, right? And see how they are as players, right? And then like after 1 hour, I was like, I'm fucking wrong. This is not how we should do it, because it doesn't actually matter. It does matter to some degree how good they are in game. However, I can just tell you, we had a person that, and that's where people be like, oh yeah, you only value skill. No, it's not true. We value the mindset the most, and we value the person where we see these have like higher potentials, right? And we understand that, for example, if you don't think that you can become a pro player, and then suddenly someone tells you, yo, I think you can actually become one, right? Stuff changes in your head, right? The way you think changes, right? So we understand that, especially like for female and non-binary players, that most of them don't think like that because they don't have role models. However, and that is thanks to you, Stella, that's thanks to you, Ayrine, now, this year, their mindset was, I want to be a pro player. I want to play in ERL second division. The mindset from last year to this year, it changed drastically, right? And that's because of people like Stella and the other people who are willing to put them out there. So, this organization is not scamming. This organization is actually trustworthy. Because in the history, there have been a lot of shady organizations who protect them and then do marketing stunts, and we all know what happened, right? And so we are, through that trust that they gave us, we were able to have better applications than last year. And that is going to be snowballing, because I think next year the level of application is going to go skyrocket, right? So this is how kind of talent camp works. Like, you start off with a day, you don't have fitness exercise in the bootcamp, right? We just talk about why fitness is important. We have a mental health workshop. We have some in-game sessions, right? And we have some, then there's like dinner and like a lot of talking with the coaches, because we do value those conversations, right? Because in an online setting, there's a lot of possibility of faking everything. But if I talk to you for half an hour straight, I will instantly be able to call you out if you are like just faking everything and just trying to give good answers, or if you actually believe what you're saying. So this is kind of how the bootcamp looks, or like the talent camp looks.
I see.
I think it's just all about giving female players a chance to even just to try it. And if someone sees it, that could be in LEC, and if they see me sitting here and talking about it, and then they be like, well, maybe I'm just gonna give it a try, and then they end up being the one, then I'm happy that I did this, because it's just all about making a little bit of a difference and bringing it in the right direction. Because even if I'm not going to be the one playing in LEC or first division, then someone else is going to be it, and then I'm happy to just be there and make room for them.
Yeah. And even if you don't get to play in LEC or real first division or something, maybe you play in third division, which some in the future inspires someone to play in second division, which in turn inspires someone to play first division, and etc. etc. So there's always going to be some kind of impact. Okay. See. Okay, now
you have to start somewhere, right? You have to start somewhere, and
Yeah,
there was nothing to start with, and we were like the first generation, first year, whatever, of female players just trying this, and I'm sure it's just gonna go up from this point.
Yeah, hopefully so. Ayrine, as a veteran of the female scene, what are your thoughts on how this is developing now, with projects like this having come to the forefront?
I mean, it's really good. I personally think that this kind of a project was a great idea, because I personally was waiting for something similar like this to happen for at least 6-7 years now. So just like, I don't know what was the main inspiration. I mean, Joseph just mentioned something, that we have very experienced management in like sport field industry. So I understand that they were like paying attention like very closely how the scene works, how's the community, how are the players. And of course we know that in nowadays world there's like a lot of injustice and imbalance, and there will always be people with better chances, and not everything is always fair and nice. So I think this place, this project, and this organization are very needed, because I as a female player, I need a place where I feel safe, where I can get a chance to develop, and that's something that on female scene rather is not very common. Like usually there's like just an organization is picking up the team, there's some manager, maybe some coach, and it doesn't really help player to develop. They just play as a team and maybe learn some new stuff, but there is nothing outside of it. So I think this is super needed and it's very important. And as Josef mentioned and Stella mentioned, we're here as role models because we want to be the change for the future.
I see. Okay. Josef, regarding the talent camp, how many applicants did you accept?
I cannot disclose the number, but I can tell you that it was triple digits, right? So, and yeah, I can just tell you that I had, I think, 60 to 70 interviews, right? And I can tell you that the interviews were the third step. So you had to make it through 2 steps to get to the interview, right? So I think that says kind of how much, right? Or like gives you kind of information how many people applied, right?
Yeah. And
this is obviously a tough choice, right?
No, I was surprised when I kept hearing from the various girls who applied that basically all of them were interviewing with you, and at some point I realized, oh, okay, it's like literally just you doing all the interviews, and that kind of shocked me at that point.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. There were interviews with. It wasn't the case. Leah did most of the interviews, or some interviews with me. The thing is, in that week, right? Stella and Ayrine, I think you were in the bootcamp with Chris and Albi. So 2 of our coaches were not there, right?
Oh.
Where we did this, and that was just a byproduct of different things, right? And so yes, obviously, most of them saw me, and that's also because I was the person in charge to organize this, right? Because it was delegated to me. And there's various reasons, because some people don't know this. In my like most of my work is like League of Legends coach. However, when it comes to like other work that I do, is like I'm working as a anti-discrimination, anti-racist coach and empowerment coach. So I have a lot of experience in how discrimination works and structures and what you need to do in order to help people overcome this discriminational barriers, right? And see these barriers. And so therefore it made a lot of sense for the organization to say, okay, we have someone with that background he doesn't understand how it is to be a woman or non-binary, right? However, he understands how discrimination works because he has experienced himself. And so it's easier for him to put structures in place that are safer, right? I'm not saying safe because I don't think there's, depending on the context and how you are interacting with the players or like the group in the group setting, right? It can never be safe. So I say safer. And yeah, that's maybe why some people think, I did the interviews. However, this is, and if people are listening, if you don't know what's going on, please do not go out of your way and just talk. Because what you are doing, you're spreading wrong rumors, and that actually hurts a lot of things, right? And I got spread along, like, for example, a person that was already like it wasn't just communicated to them. They were like told, some people already got a decline. I didn't, so I'm out. And I was like, please do not think, because as I said, it was a lot of application, and obviously I can't just say, okay, you are out, everyone's out except for these 20 people. It's a process, right? The first filter comes, the second filter comes, the third filter, the fourth, the fifth filter comes, right? And in some cases, it was very, very close, right? And it's not, if you're getting declined, it's not that you're bad or anything. It doesn't mean that we don't believe in you. There are just people that we currently think that are better right now than you and can be better in the future. So it's not you are bad, it's we don't have unlimited resources. That's it.
Yeah.
And they need to understand that. And I have been flamed. Like, I got really, really bad emails and really, really bad Twitter messages. And they told me to basically F the fuck off, right? I was like, yo, I can give you clear feedback why your application wasn't processed further, right? And if that also shows me about mindset, that I made the right decision. Because if you are truly caring about improvement, they would come to me and ask, hey, I understand. Can you give me just personal feedback what I can do better? And there were a handful of people who did that, and that made me like, I was like, oh, did I do a mistake here maybe, right? And I had to do that, and I said, okay, this is just me, how I am as a human, and this is my bias, right? So I need to check that this is a bias, and I need to be aware of these things, right? And then do it better, right? And if we make a mistake, right, there's gonna be a next year. There's always a option of just saying, hey, I improved on the things that you give me feedback. Can I get a second chance now, right? And we will give second chance. We will give third chances, right? There are people who made it in after the third try, right? Because they just needed some development. But if we take them in when they are very, very flawed and have for example, someone had like 20 games a day, right? That is not a habit that I can support. And maybe Stella, you you know something of this, right? And I was like, if I tell the player to get in, they kind of will get the signal what I'm doing is correct. But what she's doing is very incorrect. And not only incorrect, it's so unhealthy that she can have like negative long-term consequences. So I had to put a stop to it and say, you are not right now as you are. You cannot be in the EPF, because if we take you in, you're gonna subconsciously think that what you're doing is correct when it's literally ending your career. So that's what I can say.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, I mean, I was not aware of the situation because obviously we are players, we are not in management. But I also think that if you're just not going through the process, there are things obviously to work on. But maybe sometimes you just need to understand that the values you have right now, or values you have in your life, they are just not necessarily meeting the ones we have in EPF. And it's okay, because there is no need to change yourself just to get into the project. But it also gives you a spark of a thing, like, if I want to become a better player, a better person, a higher quality player, I need to change something. And if you get discouraged because you will get declined once, then maybe you should question what you really want. Because we as a player, we want to, and as people, we want to achieve and reach great stuff. We are ready to sacrifice, to work hard, and we understand that without those, there is no development. And if you are not willing to change or improve stuff on yourself, then maybe this project is not for you. Like, I applied in the past for 2 very similar projects and I got rejected, I admit, but it doesn't mean I gave up. And EPF saw a chance in me and I got accepted. It's just about your motivation and your goal. If you want to go far, you will never give up. You reapply again and again, because it's like, as Joseph says and as mental coach says, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and you need to go long way.
Based on all this, I would say perhaps a good takeaway for all the possible female sim players watching this who might not have gotten into the EPF would be, first, be open to feedback. Second, if you get rejected, like, approach someone and ask for feedback in a respectful manner. Like, don't just make assumptions and don't be angry, basically.
Don't be angry.
Yeah.
It's okay to be angry, actually. It's okay. It's a very emotional response. I think you just have to understand that if you are angry and you're talking to the wrong person, they will instantly decline you. And I understand that people are angry because it's actually hard to deal with being declined, right? And you just don't have to see that it's not, I'm not personally attacking you, or we are not personally attacking you. We're just saying the way you are right now, we don't think it's a fit. And it's important to put weight on right now. It's not, you're never gonna be. We are saying right now, right? And that is the person that you have to develop. Right? Sorry, I just jumped in.
It's fine, it's fine. No, I will say on my part that from what I've heard of people around the scene, like, Joseph is actually like quite a reasonable person. So if you got rejected from VPR or something, like, it's fine. Like, talk to him or someone else. Like, try to find other top channels. Like, seriously, don't just make random assumptions. Like, fine.
Like, you can,
I
like,
can
even
agree.
if just. Am I muted again? Or
No,
can you
no.
hear me? No. Like, just if even if you insulted me, right? If you then come and be like, hey, this was wrong, I apologize. I'm not gonna say, go away, I don't care about you anymore. I'm just gonna say, hey, yeah, that might not be the best, and let's look, right? And I will still give you a second chance, because I understand we are not in the esports scene is not known for everyone is like really, really good at communication and good in talking to people. I understand that, right? Just it would be nice if I don't get personally flamed, right?
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. Now, to get back on the topic of the talent camp, how is the talent camp going to be connected to the upcoming Equal Esports Festival?
I think I can answer that the best. We found out last year that having the talent camp and the Equal Esports Festival at the same time is very stressful. Not only for the players, but for us as well, because we have different roles and it was just stressful. So we separated those two. And what we did, the talent camp is going to be from the 2nd to 4th. And then the Equal Esports Festival is going to be on the 13th and 14th. And the goal is, after the talent camp, we select the players and then we invite them to the Equal Esports Festival. So they will be there, put on the, I would say, pedestal, or like, what is Bühne? Like stage. Yeah, and then we'll be, hey, these are the new players that we selected, right? And just to clarify, right, everyone who was in the program, and that means also Stella, and that means also Ayrine, they are being reevaluated, because the program is set for 1 year, right? And then it's going to be renewed, or it's not going to be renewed, right? And this is a hard choice, right? And Stella and Ayrine will face that decision also soon. So we understand it's a competition, right? And then we have to understand we just have not unlimited resources. And I would, if you ask me personally, I would keep all the people in the program, right? Especially if they're like really, really mindset wise good and they want to improve and they learn, right? However, that's not how the reality is, and I can just not see the reality, right? I have to see what the reality is and then act accordingly to it.
Fair enough. Ayrine, as someone who actually attended the talent camp last year, which was simultaneous with the Equal Esports Festival, how stressful was it? Was it actually very stressful? Are you happy with the decision this year to have them separately, even though you won't be attending the talent camp this time?
Well, I mean, it was just a lot happening at once, and it would feel a little bit of overwhelming, and some people were like sometimes very confused about, hey, what's in the program now? Where should we go? What should we attend? So I think it's a good decision to separate these two stuff, because obviously everyone wants to show off maybe, or show their values and fight for the place, because obviously all of these people will have like this one goal, one idea to get into the program and progress further. So yeah, I support it, and I think it's great that it's gonna be separately. So on the festival we can talk to other players, maybe talk to some people that already know us, because we are the part of EPF, so we can share our experiences. I'll personally be very happy to talk about it with someone if they're interested. And the talent camp, you just focus on one thing, and I think it's very healthy and it's really nice. It will be less stressful for sure.
Stella,
I agree. Because the last. Oh, you wanted to ask something else?
I want to ask you if you were also in the talent camp last year in the Equal Esports Festival.
Yeah, I was, and it was at the same time as the festival, and it was indeed stressful, and it was a bit sad because we missed so much of the actual content of the festival, and because we were just running around from in-game session to workshop to in-game session, and there was so much interesting stuff going on the stage, and we almost didn't see any of it because we were just busy with other things. And yeah, I think it's great that those are separated now, and we can just focus on doing our best at the talent camp, and then going to the festival and just enjoy the time there and meet people and listen to the the talks and whatever else is happening. So yeah, I think it's good. Yeah.
I
What-
see.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to get back on the topic of how the talent camp is connected with Esports Festival, like Joseph, if someone was perhaps rejected from the Esports Player Foundation, this round of applications, were to attend the Equal Esports Festival, what kind of experience do you believe it would be for them? Do you think it would help them to become better?
Yes. I think if you get rejected, you need to, like, it's a painful experience. And I can share, I got rejected a lot of times, right? And I was like, you need to see rejection as the best thing that can happen to you. And that sounds weird. If you say, oh, I'll be rejected, why is this the best thing that can happen to me? It's the best thing. I'm not talking about like, oh, you are shit. These rejections, you don't need to care about them. The rejections where the person tells you actually why you got rejected. Because you got told from someone who has, in most cases, good experience, you get a path. They lay out a path for you, what you have to do to get to the next level, right? And that's what you have to see. Not I'm being rejected. I was laid down a path to get to where I want to be. And it's painful. However, if you overcome the pain that is connected with with being declined, you will be a stronger person, you will be a better version of yourself, and you will be also more mature. Because we all know that in life you will be rejected, right? And the faster you learn how to handle it, the better for yourself, even if it's not about esports. And so I would highly invite them to say, hey, if you have the possibility to come, watch it, and then be like, okay, I hate this feeling of being declined so much that I'm gonna do everything in my power to be there next time. And if you think like that, you will make it. You will. I'm not saying you can. I'm saying you will make it.
See. Okay. Well, you already talked at length about what you believe is the best approach, and this does match up to it. This whole concept, so yeah, that's understandable. Okay. Now, to get into some more specific gameplay matters, Ayrine and Stella, your team, the DKP Diamonds, recently promoted from Prime League Division 4 to Division 3. How was your experience in the team, and how was it perhaps connected to the Esports Player Foundation?
Maybe Stella starts.
Okay, I can start. I mean, I think you have to note that we were both only substitutes for the split, so we were not on the starting roster. And yeah, I think what I can say is that all the time I felt like my opinion was respected and that I was not questioned in my capability just because of my gender or anything else. Like people were just, I don't know, like all of the guys were just very respectful and very nice and just made it great to be a part of the team. And I mean, I played some scrims with them and one match day, and it was a good experience. Like there's nothing else I can say. Yeah. And then also most of the people are very open to feedback, and we had like in the boot camp we had actual like feedback rounds where we just sat together and talked, and everyone should just be open about the issues they have and any type of problems, and then you just talk about it and it's fine. So, and that's something I was missing in other teams before, because then you just talk behind other people's back, or shit goes to social media or whatever, and it just gets messy. And that's just not how we handled things in DKP. We just talked about it, and I think that was very good.
Yeah, so as for me, I started the project in the main roster as a second AD carry. I was, of course, a part of like scrims. Sometimes I was an observer, sometimes I was a player. And the experience overall is very positive for me because all of the people, like main roster and substitutes, are trying to help each other, especially people on the same roles. They were like sharing experience and sharing some concepts, maybe some meta tips, because as I mentioned before, we are not seeing each other as a competition. We are trying our best to improve and to make sure that nobody really stays behind. So that's my experience.
See. Okay, fair enough. Oh, Joseph, a question towards you from the perspective of a coach in the Esports Player Foundation. You mentioned earlier about all these players in the upcoming talent camp who you believe have the potential to eventually play in ERL second division over the next 2 years. Does this mean the Esports Player Foundation is specifically trying to funnel female players into the mixed scene as much as possible? Or would it also support female players playing in the female-only scene?
The end goal is obviously that they play in the mixed scene. That's the end goal, right? However, we understand that the scene, again, we have to face the reality, right? And we have to understand that the scene is not as it should be. It's not very open for female and non-binary players. So we said, hey, we understand that some players have to start in the female scene first. And my brain is lagging. Give me a sec.
It's fine. It's fine. Take your time.
So yes, we understand. We support players who want to play in the female scene. However, from the get-go, we ask them, "Hey, do you see yourself in the mixed scene?" Right? And if they don't see it, then we will ask them the question: do you see a world where you can do this, or when you will want to play in the mixed scene, right? And then they say yes. However, I need this, right? And then we will work on this to get them to the level, right? And that's that, right? And we do understand that the level of play is different for everyone. So we have players that now will want to try play 4th division. We have players say, hey, I'd rather start to play in 5th division, right? And then we say, yeah, okay, 2nd division, 1st division, 3rd division. I don't want to play 4th division. I want to play 5th division because their skill level is too high, right? So we know that everyone is different and everyone gets treated different, and it's not you're being treated different because you are better or something. Everyone is treated equally. However, we just want to understand and acknowledge that everyone has had a different path and will have a different path. So it's very focused on the individually.
See. Perhaps say that in an ideal world, the female scene wouldn't need to exist. But as things currently stand, it has to exist to be a path through which some players can move.
I mean, yes and no, I would say. Because if you really want to compete, I think the female scene is the best spot for a temporary solution. But as I guess everyone already mentioned, a mixed scene is not very welcome for the female or non-binary players.
Yeah.
Because we are judged not as a player. We are judged sometimes on our gender, and we are not even given a chances with really stupid, silly, and immature excuses. But this is how world works. This is how business works sometimes, and yeah, we just wanna compete. We wanna play on the highest possible level and not be, as it very often happens, a product of advertising. Because that's not what we want. It's not our goal.
How do you feel, Stella?
I have a very strong opinion on the female scene, and I just get sad every time I see talented female players that don't even try to get into the mixed scene and they just play female scene for comfort, because I mean, of course you can get into an org, you maybe even get paid, you just play your comfy tournaments, but in reality nobody cares about the female scene. Nobody cares. And if you want to make an actual difference, you will have to play in the mixed scene, because that's what people look at. And I just think if you're a female player good enough to compete in a mixed scene, whatever, if it's 5th division, 4th division, 3rd division, 2nd, 1st, nobody cares. Like if you're good enough, then give it a try. And it might be harder to get into a team that respects you, and you will get declined for stupid reasons, but there is still a way. I competed in mixed scene all my life, and I had teams that were absolutely fine. Like, maybe you have to look a little harder, and yeah, maybe you will make some stupid experiences, but yeah, it just upsets me a bit every time I see talented female players not even trying it and just playing in female scene, because that is not the place to improve, and that is not the place you will actually get recognized, because nobody takes it seriously. Nobody takes the female scene seriously, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And if you want to change something, you will have to play in the mixed scene. That's just how I feel. Yeah.
My addition to this strong opinion: if you're even very good, and some people consider you that maybe you should give it a try, but you're personally not very interested and you're treating your game or competition as a hobby, it's completely fine, even if some people don't agree with this.
If it's your hobby, sure, yeah.
Yes, just follow as you feel. Like, if people judge you, people always give strong opinions and sometimes not even ask, and it's completely fine. Just follow what you believe in.
I'm saying, if this is your hobby and you're just doing this for fun and having a great time, and of course you can play in the female scene, that's absolutely fine. But I'm saying, if you actually want to make a difference in helping other female players get a chance to become professional players, and maybe just making a difference for other generations and people after us, then playing in the female scene is not the way to go. That's just how I feel.
Well, I would say now with the current system is Prime League NLC, with lots of lower divisions that allow players of almost any skill level to find a place to play. If someone wants to play somewhere, regardless of whether they are a man or a woman, regardless of the level, they will have the opportunity if they want to. But also it's the fact that, as Ayrine said, some people are not really seeking to improve that much. Maybe they're just casual players. I mean, in this call we are talking about the Esports Player Foundation, and obviously the people in the Esports Player Foundation are all people who are actually seeking to improve and want to take it seriously. But not every player is like that. Some players are just casual, just want to play for fun. So if you're like that, it makes sense that you will play where you feel comfortable and you don't really care about the proof that much. But if you want to actually improve, then it all makes sense that you're going to compete where there is a higher level of play and more opportunities for you to advance. So, yeah. Okay. It's fair enough. Now, Joseph, is there anything you can tell us about the future plans of the Esports Player Foundation? Any juicy leaks? Any hints?
Any juicy leaks? Not really. I can just say that we are very committed to especially like in the female non-branding players, to help them reach their goals. And as Stella said, right, we believe that maybe in this next 2 years, I personally believe that in the next 2 years there's gonna be a lot of female players. I will work my ass off to make it happen. And a lot of people, if you watch my Twitter, if someone says something sexist or misogynist, you will see how I interact. And I will tell them straight to just bury their opinion and don't even think that they can do this on my watch. So we will, as an organization, try our best to do that, to make it happen. And all I can say personally, as a person, right, if you want advice or anything, just text me. If you want to understand where I'm coming from, what I'm believing in, just text me. I will be always open to answer, right? If I don't answer straight away, it's not because I don't like you or anything. It's just because I have limited amount of time, right? And players first, and then also like my mental health and my physical health is also good to go first, right? Because if I'm not healthy, I can't do this job, right? So that's all I can say. We will keep trying and keep improving and keep finding ways to do what is necessary. And
Okay, but since you're so graciously accepting text messages, I'm going to post everyone's Twitter handles on the chat here. And while I do that, let's discuss some of the comments user left. Like, user Inugami7 says, is this still a problem solo queue I wanted with chat disabled? Or is the problem with the scene what's holding some female players to try to go for high elo? Because with high elo come good opportunities, especially for females, I would assume. Does anyone want to respond to user Inugami7?
I want.
Okay.
The problem is that you have a misconception. You think, or like your comment states that you think there's no female players that are in high elo. I can tell you, based on like the scouting that we did, I think there are like 40-ish, 50, even more, right? Now it depends what you consider high elo. If you want to talk about diamond, I think just from our applications, over 100 at least, for sure, right? If
Diamond is a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more.
I just want to give, like, based on our scouting. I'm not saying this is everything. There's a lot more, right? I agree with this. I can just tell you there are a lot more high elo players than you actually think, and it doesn't matter. Like, Cultus is challenger. Challenger is the highest rank. Do you really think if it was about the rank, then challenger would be in first division team? However, she is not, and there's a reason for it, because the organizations have sexist and misogynist structures that they need to put out of place. And if they don't put out of place, it doesn't matter how good they are. They will still not get into these organizations and positions. That's my opinion on that.
Yeah, also in the past, I mean, I'm a head of a female scene in Poland, so I'm very active on that. I mean, I used to be at least. So I did the research about European scene, African scene, Middle East scene, and also the scene in Asia, which guess it's a little bit divided by servers, because obviously they have more players. We had in the past also at least 3 challengers as a support. There was 1 challenger as a top laner, and I think there was 1 challenger as mid lane. And as far as I know, all these girls try to go somewhere. And so far, I think only 1 or 2 are still active on the scene. But the rest of them just gave up, or they just changed to be a streamer. So I think it also speaks a lot about trying to get somewhere where you're not very welcome. And if you're gonna hit the wall of being a female, just whatever these organizations have in mind, saying no to the player before even giving them a chance, it's gonna be nearly impossible to do so. Like, because for some reason, female players are expected to be even better than an average player on a scene. Like, you check the amateur scene or semi-pro scene, there are people like D2, D1, Master, and they're playing just fine. They're recognized, they have like good spots in the scene, and then there are girls with more or less the same elo, and they are like hardly judged. Like, you're not gonna give them a chance, and then you're gonna expect, oh, you need to be like super good, like you need to be a grandmaster or challenger, otherwise you don't matter. Like, what point of my or anyone's gaming career is to prove people that they're worth of something? It's already hard enough for us to try to get a chance. So why do we need to be so harsh? Just let people live and, I don't know, treat people equally.
Yeah, that's a good observation. I would actually be a whole separate topic that we'll perhaps talk about in a separate talk show dedicated entirely to girls in the mixed scene and how they're seen portrayed. For now, unfortunately, we are out of time, so at this point, are there any closing comments that any of you would like to make?
Not for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I can just say thank you for inviting us. Thank you for putting a spotlight onto this topic.
Thank you for coming.
And also, the only thing that I have to say, if you are a woman, a female player, a non-binary player, and you want advice, and you, especially because I understand that the quality of coaching or access of coaching that you probably will have is limited, right? And you feel like, oh, I want to have someone to teach me something, right? Then you can message me. And I'm not gonna say I'm gonna coach you every week for 2 hours. This is impossible. I will say that from the get-go. But I will say it's like I will give you systems how to improve, right? And yeah, we can work from there. So if you feel like, oh, I want to actually see how good I am, I can give you that, and I can give you like a plan how to work on your improvement. So feel free to just contact me, right? Just reach out. And the only thing that I can say is like I'm not saying that very often, I think, And I'm really, really grateful for Stella and Ayrine to what you're doing, that you keep doing it, right? And that you believe in yourself. And the path is not easy. I have a huge respect for what you do. So yeah, keep going. Thank you.
Very heartwarming. Hey, that's it from us. Once again, thanks to all my guests for coming here, and thanks to all the viewers for coming to watch. I hope you found this talk show both entertaining and insightful, and perhaps learned something as well. That's it from us here. No news on the future talk show for now, but there will be announcements on Twitter as usual. For now, remember about the Equal Esports Festival in the 13th and 14th of September. If you happen to be in Cologne around that time, perhaps you might wanna go and check it out. So, thanks everyone, and see you later. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.